Welcome to Agency Bytes, a podcast for agency owners, hosted by agency veteran and coach Steve Guberman. Agency Bytes is a podcast focused on delivering actionable agency information from agency experts in about 25 minutes. Why 25 minutes? Because who has the attention span for much more these days? And you can squeeze in a listen between meetings with time for a bathroom break or coffee refill before your next meeting.
Welcome to Agency Bytes, a podcast dedicated to helping creative entrepreneurs thrive. I'm Steve Guberman from Agency Outsight, where I coach agency owners to build the agency of their dreams. My guest this week is Meeky Hwang. She's the CEO and partner at Ndevr, a WordPress development agency trusted by major media and enterprise brands. With over 2 decades of experience in web development and DevOps, Meeky's helped power digital platforms for companies like Bloomberg, Forbes, and Sony. She's also a passionate advocate for women in tech and a strong voice for aligning technology with real business outcomes. Thank you for joining me. It's great to see you.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
Yeah. So kind of the obvious topic, something I'm super excited about and passionate about is like elevating female voices, women in tech, women entrepreneurship. Tell me about like your journey as a female entrepreneur.
My journey as a female entrepreneur is accidental, actually. I think I've told some of my friends too, because when we started, I wasn't thinking about, I'm going to start a company. I'm going to do this. It was more kind of happened organically and naturally when my co-founder, Matt, and I worked the same company before, and he was pretty much overseeing the entire practice. And I was like the manager, just promoted. But I learned so much from him. But I was already thinking about leaving the company for my other personal reasons, and he left before me. And he knew that I was thinking about leaving because I was talking to him about it before. And when he left, when I left shortly after, and I was kind of doing a freelance project because I had a little gap between like trying to figure out what I want to do next. And he and I worked on a small freelance project, and because of that, we're working really closely together. We're talking about, how we should make this project better, or like what works well. And then I realized that my style of working and his style of working really fit really well. So with that, we're kind of naturally talking. I was like, why don't we start a company? So like, that's how it all started. And I was actually glad that I was that naive. I didn't know. And Matt knew a lot. And like having him as a partner helped a lot because I didn't really think of a lot of other things to running a company. It came from him because he already was a partner of running the practice. So he knew a lot about that insights. And then he also had a connections that we were invited to one of those private owner summit type of conference thing. So it was a very small group. And I learned a ton from that group just starting. And we were just starting and everyone was pretty established at the time. So because of that, I was lucky enough to have a partner who can kind of guide me through get there. But I didn't know a lot of things. In hindsight, if I think about it, it's better that I didn't know because like I put that much more effort into it because I didn't know. But it wasn't planned. It was just kind of like learning as I was going. And then it's just because we're 10 years this year. And it still feels like I just started. There's so much to learn still. And there's like a lot of different challenges and different things. That's great things. And then bad things all happen. But it still feels like it's a new thing that I'm still learning.
Yeah, 10 years. Congratulations. That's very exciting.
Yeah.
And having a partner where you guys complement one another and can support one another. And I think that's beautiful. Most agency owners are accidental business owners. Like that's the reality. We have a job. We think we can do it better, or we get laid off, or, our manager or creative director pisses us off. And we're like, I'm going to go do my own thing and hang up my own shingle. Shoot, I know how to build websites or do branding, but I don't know how to run a business. So that's the nature of our entire industry, I think. Like very few of us went to business school or have an MBA, or like we went to art school or no school, or, learned how to be developers, that kind of thing, marketing, whatever. So yeah, you're in the right place with that. But there's so few women in leadership roles in our industry. And I know during COVID, there was a big push in a lot of the holding companies that were like, we're going to, elevate a certain percentage. And it was really, I think, for optics more than true culture and truly finding the right talent and helping women be leaders. What have you seen in the 10 years as a leader people looking to you? Have you felt pressure? Have you faced obstacles? Like, what were some of the, I guess, pluses and minuses there for you?
I'm actually glad to see a lot more women leaders, and then also women in tech as well. Because when I started, it was very few. Even like when I was, I did go to engineering school. I did do computer science because I wanted to do business side. So like I did this thing called systems and information engineering, but I had to take all the computer science classes to get to the next level. That was our filter to get into our program. But at the same time, it's always like I'm one of the few, like maybe one or two female in the entire class. So it's very, and also I've been minority, I feel like all my life. So like it didn't bother me, but it actually made me work harder because like I have something to prove. Because like, just because I'm different doesn't mean that I can do this. So I always had that as my driving force. But I know a lot of times that it's not the case for a lot of different people, which it's just fine. But but at the same time, so it was harder, I felt like, but I'm seeing over the course of years, I'm seeing a lot more female developers, female software engineers, even when I was hiring people, which is really great to see. And I try to help them more. And then like we can relate more in a lot of different situations. Because even though there's like all this like equality things going on, there's like the different nuances of weird things happen in like smaller and bigger scale. And a lot of times it's because it's not like they're intentionally doing it, but it's more like they don't know. Because like
Right.
they don't know about how to handle different people or different than you. But I don't think it's just because I'm minority. It's just like it's probably for everyone. Because I actually don't know how to be a male in the industry. Because like they might not think they're differently because I don't know. It's just that ignorance. Like I just started to accept that, and then it kind of helped a lot to just kind of navigate through if there's like a weird things I encounter. But I also see that in entrepreneur or the leadership level too, because I think there was always like I was the first one happening. Because even for the previous company, I think I was the first technical manager for that company, the female, and then they wanted to keep me for whatever reason because like that represents different things. And then they promoted other female engineers to get to that level, and it was actually great to see that I was mentoring a couple people to get to that level. So like it give them more interest of like, oh, I can do this too. So like it was actually honoring experience for me to kind of be the role that they want to be. So I thought throughout the course of my career feels like I'm doing something that I want to do that might be helpful for the people who might look at it to see like, oh, because sometimes it's like you don't want to be the first one to do it, but when you see someone did it, it's like, oh, I can probably do this. And especially when I talk to them, they know that I'm very similar to them. I'm nothing special. It's like, and then they'll just kind of like grab it as like, oh, I can do this. So like, I feel like that's something that I'm actually happy to do with a lot of people. Cause like, so I'm hopefully that I'm doing it right. So that people will actually, want to do more like leadership role, something that they're not familiar with. They want to jump into it.
Yeah. I think even if you don't do it right, the fact that you're doing it, and if you own any mistakes that you make and trips along the way, it's inspiring as hell for so many other people that, oh, if this person can do it, then I can do it as well. And I think we need more of the courage from leaders like yourself to like take that risk and do it and put yourself out there and get on a stage at WordCamps and things like that and show people that it's possible. And there's been more and more initiatives over the years. The only one like top of mind is like Girls Who Code, and like there's all these programs to elevate females and minorities and etc. And whether that's to be a developer, to be a leader, to be an entrepreneur, so I think whether you give yourself credit for it or not, you can't look through your eyes as like a white male entrepreneur or anything like that, but you can take the experiences that you have to inspire others, and hopefully they then see, hey, I can do it also, and whatever that it is, right? And so, I just I applaud the courage from anybody who's doing it. So so 10 years, Ndevr, you guys are deeply niched in the WordPress community. You're doing large scale media builds. Have you always been in like the WordPress open source space since you launched it?
Yeah, so when we launched, we're more close to open source. So we did other CMS, but yeah, we're mostly staying in the digital media publisher industry because that's where we were from. Because New York and like I think Matt is actually he worked at like MTV and like Time Inc. and all those places before he went to the different agency. And I did work at Hearst before I went to the other agency as well. So we had that background of familiarity with those clients, and then kind of like the workflow and process, we're just familiar with it. But it applies to all the other enterprise level companies. But we just wanted to make sure that we wanted to kind of niche down to see what we're good at and what we were familiar with. We did have initially we're open source was our thing because we did have some clients that did other ones like the Adobe ones or like the .NET stuff, but we like open source. So there were Drupal, Laravel, or other ones that we use as a CMS. But WordPress was one of the things that we wanted to just focus on because it was it's 43% of, I think it was a step from 2023 is that 43% of all the websites is powered by WordPress. So it's it's a big market. So we wanted to kind of like make sure that, and also it's an easier entry for a lot of editors because they're familiar with it because it's
right.
And then that gives a lot of advantage to start off with. It's just like a training gets a lot easier. So that was kind of like a reason behind transitioning down to WordPress.
Yeah. And I don't know the accuracy of the numbers, but I heard a stat recently that something like of the top visited 100 websites, like 60% of those are also powered on WordPress or something crazy like that. So it's got a foothold, that's for sure.
Yeah, and also like initially it was known as a blogging tool, but you can do a lot more. It's like at the end of the day, it's like a code that you just need to add on to make it customized. And we do a lot of custom ones because we're dealing with enterprise level because there's a lot of integrations for like different privacy reasons and then another thing reasons. So I mean, even White House is also using WordPress, so it's proven to be secure enough for all these bigger companies to adopt it.
Yeah, so long as it's set up properly, right, and there's guardrails put in place, and that's something that you guys take a lot of pride in as far as like a DevOps standpoint. You're not just designing and putting up a blog. You guys are building infrastructure, and you have a specific framework that you've, I guess, developed that you use, or you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so we try to look at it. We call it a platform because it becomes a platform once we start putting together and then build it. So we call it a 3 framework. We like to see it as 3 pillars. It's like a 3-legged stool. So like any 3 pillars, if there's something lacking, it's not going to stand. It's just going to tip over. So 3 pillars is audience experience, editor or creator experience, and the developer experience. So audience experience is like what you see on the front end, the security, UX, UI, and on the website front end, like the users see. And editorial experience is like what editors have to do, like the workflow wise, making sure the workflow is fine so that they can push out the content frequently and easily. And that kind of comes with the developer experience. Developer has to support both audience and editorial experience to make sure the site is up and secure and performing. And at the same time, editors don't have any bottlenecks to push out their content correctly. So all 3 pillars have to work together in order to have the platform that's resilient.
Yeah. I guess if you also further dig into that analogy, that like if one of those legs of the stool is way longer than the others or shorter than that same stool is wobbly. So you have to have even emphasis on all 3 of those legs of the stool or pillars of your program.
Yeah, exactly.
So leaning into media, because that's where your guys' background is, like what are some, making a shift is massive, and anybody in the media space that's on like a legacy platform or infrastructure, like what are some of those pain points that you guys look for to help modernize them into the WordPress ecosystem?
So recently it's funny that the headless kind of like a hot topic or hot trend for a while. So a lot of companies that prematurely just moved to headless because it's a thing to follow. But headless, sometimes you don't really need to go that much because it gives a lot of more layers of complexity. That means that there's more layers of a breaking point. So you have to maintain more than one thing. And then now that you have to hire different teams to handle different sections, and there's a connection point that might fail, and then like you need to make sure that the caching is not really affecting the other ending, connection points. So it just became a little more convoluted for the companies that really don't need it. Like the web presence, you can pretty much do whatever you want, like with just WordPress as well, because like React front end, it's WordPress, that backend is kind of adapting React also already. So you can do that. You don't have to go headless to do that way. So that was one of the examples that now that they over-engineered it, now I wanted to bring it back, because one of the caveat is that if you a custom build a headless like that, sometimes there's no natural like a preview where editors really need to preview it before they push the contents. And then that just became issues, one of the example. And then so we had to bring it back to just standard WordPress, so where you can do the standard things like checking your typos or anything before you roll out, and checking your images are in the right place. You're putting out the right images without like getting bothered by the cache. Like sometimes you have to, like one of the example from our old client that we wanted to bring the headless to WordPress was like, whenever they update a text, they couldn't see for 5-10 minutes, and they couldn't really like, they just have to push it because they have to push the content. Because like media companies have to push the contents frequently. And then sometimes the images are just cached, but they can't tell if it was actually cached or if the image that they were putting in was correct. So there's a lot of weird issues that were frustrating the editorial experience. And also, like I want to mention, there's, like I said, different layers can, unless you maintain it correctly or you set up correctly, there is more breaking points to every single step. So those are the things that we kind of like make sure that WordPress is easier, because like for the sites that are simple enough that if you're not sending all these different data endpoints to different type of things, like, you know, internet of things or other things, if it's just a website, it's actually better and easier to maintain and cost saving for the owner of the company or the department, whatever, head, to maintain it in a WordPress.
Yeah. So as a co-founder, are you still, and you speak very technically because you've got a tech background, you're in the WordPress community, are you still day-to-day hands-on in DevOps, coding, planning, architectures, things like that? Like, yeah. What's your kind of day-to-day as a co-founder?
I do jump in and then just kind of like so I'll do code review and some of the projects. So I'll be the tech lead for some projects, or I'll be the account manager for some other projects that we have other people on. But I try to give actual hands-on advice to the developers, and I do have some hands-on experience. I kind of want to have a little bit of hands-on because like it's like kind of like a developer's little I don't know, it's a habit, or I don't know, it's like a personality thing that I do like to stay hands-on a little bit to kind of know I'm still good or I can still build things. So I like to keep a little bit of that. So like it's a little bit intentional, and sometimes like if there's like a client work that needs little like a firework and I need to jump in, then I can jump in.
Yeah, I get it. I was raised a designer, and as I grew my agency, I designed even less, and now I don't have an agency, and so it's like, all right, you know, when I get a chance to, I will design something because I just enjoy it, and it's been a long time. So, for you as a founder, striking that balance between, you know, working on the business, working in the business, you know, that's always a challenge for founders. You and Matt have been running the business for a decade now. What's the kind of divide of roles between the two of you?
So department-wise, we actually divided it because initially we didn't, and that was one of the mistakes or this learning experience that if you don't divide that, like you try to kind of step on each other's toes, or you're too scared that you might be stepping each other's toes, so like you just kind of stand back, and then the things don't get done. So we divided to do different things. So like I'll be overseeing the marketing and what's it called, and some operational stuff and HR portion of it, whereas he's gonna be overseeing the whole CO, like the financial portion, COO role, as well as sales portion of it. And then there are some combination of like the account management and client management. It's like the client success, we kind of like have a hybrid, so we'll separate depending on by the clients, but that's kind of like we oversee together. So we have that division between two of us, so that we don't have to step over each other's toe and have more accountability for ourselves.
Did you learn the hard way that you needed that clear delineation between roles so you're trusting one another to do your job and not stepping on each other's toes? Like, how did that come about?
In the beginning, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
A lot of partners.
missed, and then I was like, wait, I thought you're doing it. No, I thought you're doing it. So like there were one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. That's very common with partnerships. So, let's just get to work and we'll do cool stuff together. And we got a client. Yay, let's split the money down the middle. And then it's like, wait, who's doing it? I thought you were doing it. No, I thought you were. Yeah. So having clear roles defined is essential in any partnership, no matter how many partners there are. And then trusting, emphatically to have the autonomy to, you're handling marketing. I trust you. You'll bounce things off of me as needed, but I trust you to make those decisions. You're co-founders, so that trust has to be super deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you do a lot of speaking. Is it mostly at work camps, or is it what are the range of topics that you're talking about?
Yeah, it is. Because I was doing a lot more talks on technical stuff before. I'm actually trying to spread out to do more like a leadership type of speaking as well. But because of like it was I was talking a lot more technical stuff. It was more on the technical side of it, but we're trying to like do more of speaking in like a broader world. It's like a business tour, like entrepreneurship or things like that.
Yeah. Are you doing anything as far as like helping with career skills, strategies and trends for success or mentorship or things like that?
I have for the employees. I wasn't directly looking for it because it's a big responsibility if you think about it. So I want to be a little cautious of that. But if there are people who used to work with me or the coworkers who need some guidance or some of my opinions, then I'll talk to them. But I'll actually go out and say like, oh, I'm gonna mentor you type of thing anymore.
Yeah. Do you guys have an internship program or anything like that at Ndevr?
Right now, but we're thinking about it, but we haven't really. It's also a work to kind of make sure that we want to be helpful for them too. So like it's a program that we spend some time to actually filter up, architect it. So because of that, we didn't get a chance to actually do it. But we talked about it for a few years, but we never really got a chance to do that.
It's challenging having interns because it's got to be like very symbiotic. Like and most interns can't really, whether it's design or marketing or development, deliver work that you can ship. And it's like, well, that was a great try, but we're going to go with our senior developers' work because it actually works. So it's a tough balance where you want to teach and give back, but you also want them to contribute to client-facing work and things that are going to make money for the agency.
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry. But it was one of the things that when we were starting, Matt had the thing about like fostering developers on like in the different areas, like people who doesn't have ability to get there. We still kind of talk about it, but we never really got a chance to actually do it. But it's still kind of in the radar that maybe like once we get a little more comfortable, have a little more time. I don't know if that's ever gonna happen. Then we'll see that as well.
Yeah. So 10 years in, you guys are well niched. You've got a good name in the media space, in the WordPress space. What's next as far as, shifts for the agency or things on the horizon for you as a leader? Where do you see things shifting for you?
I don't know if it's a shift, but, obviously AI is a big thing these days. We wanted to adopt this so that it will make it, everything efficient because we're just starting to learn it too and just adopt it in the development workflow as well as what we can do with the clients. So those are the ones that we're kind of doing more research and doing like some beta testing of the rolling out like a little product and things like that. So that's our next thing to just kind of incubating in a way. But that's something that we also want to adopt because obviously efficiency is a big thing, especially as a small agency. So that's the next thing that we're looking at closely.
Yeah. Have you built your own products or your own IP for efficiencies in the past?
Not just internally, just testing out, but we haven't really rolled out publicly. So we're actually just testing out. We just launched a beta testing called Content Seer. So we'll see if that's going to be helpful for our clients. So we wanted to see if we can push that out for our clients.
What's its function? Its core function?
So core function is to help the SEO and then also creating contents like a topic search and things like that. So it gives you score. It's kind of like analyzed by AI. based on your client base, and then if you can create the persona for your target audience as well. So you pretty much handle that part, and then there's like a click of a button to get your score recommendation on SEO wise, and then also they'll recommend a topic based on the research, and then based on the topic title, you can create based on the topic, you can create the titles of blog posts that you can put out, and then generate a draft of it so you can just clean it up. So
very cool. Very cool. It's very targeted. So it's WordPress, it's media, it's publishing, and that's where you guys live. So makes perfect sense. Yeah. So I want to wrap up with a couple random rapid fire questions. It's what I do, but I'm going to throw a fourth one in because I'm curious. So leading into it, the first is just thinking about, again, female entrepreneurship and being a trailblazer. It's just something that you've done. Is there any sage advice that you want to offer other, aspiring female entrepreneurs or women in tech that you've learned along the way?
I think this is one of the things I realized I had done earlier is like getting into a group, like a mastermind type of group. And that really helped me grow faster because like getting to know a lot of other people. Like, so I joined like entrepreneur group a couple of years ago called YEC. Now I recently joined Forbes Agency Council. So those type of masterminds, like you get to meet a lot of people that you get really inspired from, and then also resonate with. So those days I wish I'd done earlier. So finding a mastermind group to have a group that you can also relate to and talk to is a huge plus. So I wish I'd done it earlier, but like now that I've done it, like I really cherish that.
Yeah. So EO is very generalist as far as businesses. Have you found value in being just with female entrepreneurs or just with agency owners or business owners in general?
I think all three, because YEC, I looked at EO as well, but then I think when I moved, like they didn't really have a chapter here, so I didn't get to join. But and in YEC as well, because they have a group for like women entrepreneurs, and I got to meet a lot of people there, and there's also the technical people, so I got to bounce ideas and then get their feedback, and like even like any little things that I was looking for, I was like, hey, like I'm actually looking for a marketing agency that can help me with this, and then I'll get a lot of feedback from them. So it was very helpful. And then I just recently joined the Forbes Agency Council, so I haven't really got too much experience yet. But then I'm actually kind of excited to see what's going to happen there.
Yeah, cool, awesome. I'm also a huge proponent of mastermind groups, peer-based mastermind groups. So I fully second, third, and fourth that because also a big fan of that. So all right, here's the rapid fire questions. Don't be nervous. So if you're doing karaoke, what's your go-to song, or what's a song you would never sing?
Ooh, I'm not a karaoke person. Oddly, but I don't know. Like, I mean, there are songs that I like. I can just say that. But yeah, I don't know if I can be a karaoke song. I mean, at least the song that comes to my mind is "I'm Still Standing" from Elton John. Actually,
love it.
Yeah,
perfect. What's a skill or hobby that you've picked up recently that's outside of tech?
I didn't pick it up yet, but I was just interested. I wanted to see if I can grow beehives in the back to kind of get honey locally. So that's I'm actually looking to get some research on what it takes to actually have it in my house. So that's gonna be my new hobby for next.
Awesome.
Year. Yeah.
I fully support that. Don't do it in the house. Do it in the yard. But yeah, totally do it. Florida honey. I don't know that I've heard of such a thing, but I'm sure it exists. There's got to be tons of, what do they call, apiaries down there?
Yeah. I actually looked it up, and then just like they actually have like you have to get a license, and then they give you the list of contacts that I can reach out to see. So, but I have to learn it first. So, obviously, and
hopefully you're not allergic to bees.
No, but yeah, I mean, local honey is supposed to be really good for you. Like it kind of eliminates your allergies and things like that. So I'm excited to learn that.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear an update. And then finally, if you could instantly fix one common mistake that organizations make with their tech stack, what would it be?
Tech stack. I have to think about this. I mean, the fix is like, well, I want them to make sure they have the actual code version control and quality control in place. It's interesting to know that a lot of companies don't have it. So like, having Git and then the workflow to have a CI/CD, the continuous integration and continuous development, that's huge. So like, it's not necessarily changing it, but when I see that it's not there, it's an immediate thing that I want to change. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's one thing I can come up with right now.
Yeah, no, that fits perfectly. Meeky, it was great to spend some time with you. I love what you and Matt have done with Ndevr. Again, I'm inspired by you, and I'm sure tons of other as a female entrepreneur and a leader in tech. So thank you for being courageous in doing that and continuing to do what you do on stage and off stage. So thank you again for joining me today.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thanks again for tuning in to Agency Bytes. If you know someone with expert knowledge on a topic that agency owners would love to hear about, go to agencyoutsight.com/podcast-guest and nominate them.